An electronic mole in Winston Churchill's office, Germans were able to eavesdrop on Churchill's conversation with FDR. The USA came up with Sigsaly encryption to save the war. It was a British War Cabinet meeting at a bunker in World War II below the streets of London. Discussions happened on the entire Allied strategy in that room. Germany overheard all those vital information through a mole. The British intelligence was not aware of the existence of the mole but interacted with it daily. The mole which helped Germany was a telephone. Not an ordinary phone but a phone in which Winston Churchill and Franklin D. Roosevelt discussed the war. Telephone and war. The telephone saw wartime usage for the first time in World War II. The telegram was the instrument of war in World War I, and it got slowly replaced by the telephone. Telephone companies across the world started to lay telephone lines to connect people. The news was now available in an instant to anyone in any part of the world. Reconnaissance balloons were the first to receive telephone connection during the war. The observer in the balloons had a link to the base station via a telephone line, through which he can communicate enemy positions. In World War II, the telephone saw ever-important usage as critical information needed to be transmitted quickly. With the USA's entry into World War II, an exclusive telephone line came into existence between Winston Churchill, the Prime Minister of Britain, and Franklin D. Roosevelt, USA President. Churchill's phone to FDR was kept in a secret location only known to Churchill and Anthony Eden. It was behind broomsticks in a maintenance room that didn't raise any suspicion. Churchill used this line to speak to FDR on crucial decisions in the war. The flaw. The telephone used by Churchill had an inherent flaw. The problem was that the telephone cable line between the USA and Britain didn't exist in World War II. So the telephone signal needed to be transmitted via radio waves, which can be eavesdropped by anyone. For this reason, Germany constructed listening posts on the Dutch coast to capture such radio signals without encryption. The conversation between Churchill and FDR is for anyone to hear. Armed with the information from the figureheads of two crucial nations, Germany had a mole right inside Churchill's office. On the contrary, German radar systems were all connected via telephone cables to minimize radio waves usage. Britain and the USA came up with code words to communicate, but Churchill didn't like the idea and forgot it most of the time. The USA gave this challenge to Bell Laboratories and asked for a solution. Bell Laboratories came up with a brilliant solution to the problem called Sigsaly or Green Hornet based on a famous radio show. The idea was to use a voice encoder to encode white noise into the transmission. The receiver knows the white noise frequency and can decode and get a clear voice. The Pentagon approved the idea, and Bell Laboratories got a contract for 3 years. The encryption. The vocoder worked by encoding and decoding voice employing cryptographic keys. The device captured voice, signal and pitch on all 10 channels of telephone bandwidth, 250 Hz, 2950 Hz. The device examined each signal for its amplitude. Then a white noise of amplitude between values of 0 to 5 is introduced. This introduction of white noise in transmission will make the original audio signal inaudible. The system generated a random value from 0 to 6. The system subtracted amplitude value and random value. To keep the result as a positive value, 6 is added to the subtracted value. The result, which is an encryption key, is transmitted to the receiver at the start of each signal. Amplitude value equals 4. Random value equals 5. Wraparound value to keep the result positive, equals 6. Encryption key equals, amplitude value random value, plus wraparound value. Encryption key equals 4 to 5 plus 6 equals greater than 1 plus 6 equals greater than 5. Encryption key of 5 and a random number of 5 is transmitted. At the receiver side, the system calculated the amplitude value of the white noise. Amplitude value equals encryption key plus random value plus wraparound value. Amplitude value equals 5 plus 5 6 equals greater than 10 to 6 equals greater than 4. With the decrypted key, the white noise amplitude is removed at the receiver end. The first machine was installed in Pentagon with lines with RAN to White House. FDR didn't want the device in the White House due to the unconventional working time of Churchill. The first machine arrived in the UK in 1941. The circuits could heat up quickly, so they needed to be kept in an air-conditioned environment, a luxury in wartime. A machine was established in Algiers for Eisenhower after Operation Torch-Allied North Africa landing. As cities in Europe came under the Allied forces, the usage of the device too expanded. Aftermath. After the war, Allied forces got hold of the German recording of the white noise conversation. Germans were not able to crack the decoding method. The Green Hornet project kept Britain operations like Daylanding, invasion of Italy a secret without falling in the hands of Germany. The encryption saved millions of lives. Green Hornet is the only encryption method not to be cracked in World War II.